Hi, welcome to Victor Growth Classes. My name is Vijay Jagadeesh. In this class, we are discussing about directive principles of state policy, another very important topic in the polity Indian Constitution. Okay, so the blueprint of welfare state. Now, this is something, India is a welfare state. Don't ask me investigating questions or is India is really a welfare state and all. Okay, but compared to other states, India is definitely a welfare state because we have something called intervention. Okay, intervention means the government will not sit simply if somebody is in poor condition, somebody is in vulnerable sections of society, somebody is in need of any help, the government will intervene. Okay, so thereby we are definitely welfare state. Okay, over the period of this many years since the independence, we have reduced as per the economic survey, the absolute poverty present in India is 5 point something only. Okay, multi-dimensional poverty we have reduced. Okay, which was once 60-70% during the time of independence. So definitely a welfare state. Okay, so these are certain directives which the Constitution is giving to the government. Understood? So any government which is coming to power, if they want to do any kind of welfare, they want to do something good for the people, then they can follow the guidelines given in the Constitution, that is the directive principles of state policy. Okay, so you can write in your notebook or you can note down, this is something known as fundamental to the governance of the country. So I am introducing the directive principles of state policy. Also, I will use the word DPSP instead. Okay, it is a fundamental to the governance of the country. Now, this question is asked several times in the exam, and the moment they see the word fundamental, the option B, fundamental right, you will mark. Don't do that. Okay, fundamental to the governments of the country is directive principle of state policy. That means if the government, the governance has to be there, there are certain fundamental principles are there that is given in the directive principles of state policy. It comes under part 4 of the Constitution between article 36 to 51. Okay, now this is taken from Irish Constitution. See, Indian Constitution is derived from many sources. It is inspired from many constitution, and many good things we have taken and we have incorporated in our Constitution. Thereby, this directive principle of state policy is taken from Irish Constitution. Okay, and there it is article 45. Okay, and this word is another important word. It was defined as instrument of instruction in 1935. In fact, this is not completely new. In 1935 itself, this was adapted in the 1935 Government of India Act. Okay, after that, Simon Commission all comes. Okay, so that time the directive principles of state policy was known by the name instrument of instruction. Instrument of instruction. Okay, so you said your handwriting is improved. What is improved? I'll improve. Wait and see. Okay, but you can now write down. Okay, instrument of instruction was given the word in 1935. Okay, so what is the purpose of having this is to have a India as a welfare state. Okay, that means the changes in the livelihood of the people. Okay, and improve the condition of the poor. Okay, social and economic democracy. Okay, and it is way beyond police state. India is not a police state. For that matter, I'll tell you there are 3 important way in which a state can be. Okay, one is a police state, the military rule. For example, North Korea or any kind of Libya where the dictators and all that. There's a police state. Rule is very important. They don't care of the people. Okay, that is the police state. The other one is laissez-faire state. Okay, the present condition you can say Somalia, to some extent Yemen, where there's civil war under happening. The government is not in place, so they don't care what you guys do. They don't know what you guys are doing. You have to survey on yourself. That is a laissez-faire state. Okay, and the state which is a modern state, which is the most acceptable state, is a welfare state where government will intervene in the lives of the people in a positive manner. Okay, so India as a welfare state is reflected in directive principle of state policy. Hope you understand that. Okay. Now, the paradox is it is fundamental to the governance of the country. Yes, it is fundamental to the governance of the country, but it is not justiciable. That is what the paradox. Okay, it is very much necessary to run the government. It is very much necessary for the day-to-day administration of the government. Okay, the government should be using this principle in their day of law making and the law implementation. Okay, but yet they are not justiciable. Any person who is feeling that, sir, this component is in the directive principles, I am not having it, let the government give me, not possible. You cannot go to the court. Okay, so these are crucial instructions, not legally binding on the government. If they don't implement the directive principle state policy, no one cares. You can't go to the Supreme Court. Understood? So legal status under Article 37, not justiciable, but yet it is a fundamental in the governance of the country. It is a duty of the state. Please write down this point. It is a duty of the state. It is a duty of the state to apply this principle in making law. Understood? But they are not justiciable. Okay, why it is not justiciable? So there are a lot of good things are there, but why it's not justiciable? Okay, because there are practical constraints are there according to B.R. Ambedkar himself. He himself has said that we can't implement all this, but we have to wait for apt situation or the conditions in which it can be implemented. For example, something every time we are planning about uniform civil code, okay, but there is a religious consensus has to be made, okay, and we have implemented successfully Panchayati Raj. We have implemented right to education. Understood? So those things we have done. Okay, so on the right appropriate time and the conditions we can implement this also. Okay, and sometimes we may need resources also to implement this. Okay, so practical constraints, one of them is the financial resource, socio-economic backwardness is there, then burden on the new state. Okay, that means India is a new state when it was formed in 1947. So these are things why it is not justiciable. Okay, but yet who called? Ambedkar himself called this as a novel features, okay, in the Indian Constitution. Okay, these are very much essential. These are very important, crucial instructions for the government in place, but still it is not justiciable. Okay, whereas fundamental right is justiciable, this is not justiciable. Okay, now the entire directive principle state policy can be classified into socialist, Gandhian and liberal intellectual, but this is only for our understanding. The constitution does not officially classify this as socialist, Gandhian or liberal. Okay, so this classification is for our academic purpose on the ideological content, not as classified in the constitution. You can read it here. The constitution does not formally classify these articles. It is a grouping, is academic based on the ideological content. Okay, so we have, it's not me. When I started preparation in 1999 itself, it is like that. Okay, so the people who are people who are making these books, academic people, they have classified this as three. One is socialist. Socialist means aiming the economic justice, labor oriented. Okay, where we need welfare of the labor, we need livelihood, nutrition of the labor. All this will come socialist, but yet you should not confuse this with the socialism. When we discussed about preamble, that time itself I told you, India is a socialist country. Equality of opportunity is there. We have welfare of the laborers, but all the economic activity is open to everybody. That means we have got a mixed economic model. So socialist is there, but socialism is not there in India. Gandhian principle definitely, okay, for example, self-rule, Panchayati Raj, decentralizations, then this Khadi. In this budget, government has brought one scheme. What is the scheme? Anybody remember that scheme? Okay, I'm not going to say this. Okay, there's one scheme introduced in which they are going to promote villages with the Khadi, handicraft, handlooms and all. Please comment that if you have gone through that budget video already, I pasted there. Okay, so Gandhian based, ideology based things are there. Modern state, okay, modernization or western things are mostly rational things, like liberal intellectual things. For example, uniform civil code comes under this. Okay, all these are there as per the classification we have made, constitution have not made. Okay, so coming to the socialistic principle, okay, these articles you need not remember all articles. Some articles remember, you need to remember. I'll tell you that. Okay, so promote welfare state. Okay, what they are saying is, okay, please only write down only this. You write down, you cannot remember everything and no need to remember also. Okay, so minimize the inequalities in income. Minimize the inequalities in income. Okay, so can you say that, sir, I am joined as a trainee in the private company, my salary is only 2 lakh per annum, but there are another person who's joined another company, his monthly salary is 2 lakhs, sir. So there's a inequality in income. So reduce his salary and give to me. Okay, not possible. Okay, so we are just aiming towards this. We are aiming towards this. Certain companies are there where they keep the ratio that the first entry and the maximum position you can hold, the difference is not much. Some companies have that rule, but today it is not practically possible in all the companies. Private companies, they have got a lot of perks like share, all these are they are giving. Okay, so minimize the inequalities in income is one of the aspiration the constitution wants, so that people economically can create an egalitarian society. Okay, and then adequate means of livelihood is also their socialistic principle. Okay, distribution of material resources equally. Okay, for example, tomorrow you get a gold in your house. Okay, in fact, it happened. Lakundi, there was one family, they were making a foundation for a new home. Okay, they got one copper pot. Inside some jewels were there. Okay, so the villagers said that you can't have this. This is a government property. Okay, you have to go to the. So they are submitting the police station. There's an investigation going on. It's I don't know. Okay, so even that is not possible here. Okay, so I'm saying equitable distribution of material resources. Okay, you have to give. Okay, prevention of concentration of wealth. Okay, you cannot make Ambanis and Adanis. Okay, concentration of wealth not possible. Equal pay for equal work. Okay, these are the something which is implemented. All the white collar job, private company or the public company or the government, this one that civil service, our own this one. There is no any discrimination between men and women are getting equal pay. But the gray jobs like manual labor, construction industries, those were places where this difference is obviously visible. But there are government norms which has come with the minimum wages and all. They have fixed so that this discrimination is avoided. Okay, so what is that thing? Socialist principle: minimize the inequalities in income, adequate livelihood, okay, equitable distribution of resources, prevention of concentration of wealth, equal pay for equal men, equal pay for equal work for both men and women. Okay, then right to work. Now this is we have this what is that VBG Ramji. Okay, that is this only. Okay, so right to work is not a fundamental right. It's not a fundamental right, but there is in the this one. So the government has implemented. Understood the point? Government has implemented right to work. Okay, BBG Ramji is an example for that. Okay, then the workers' condition, that means they have proper lighting, proper water is there. They have the certain infrastructure, chair is available for them to sit and work. Those and also humane condition to work should be provided. Okay, then a decent standard of living for all the workers. Then nutrition. So these are the things which coming under the socialist principle. Okay, you may feel it hard, but you have to work on this and learn. Okay, Gandhian principle. Okay, this is very easy to understand. If you understand the ideology of Gandhi, he will promote village, cottage industries, khadi, and he is a person who wanted this village panchayat. So this has been implemented. Please write down. This has been implemented by 73rd Amendment Act. Okay, 73rd Amendment Act. We have implemented Panchayati Raj. Cottage industry boards and are there. Again, that is also cooperatives. We are promoting cooperative. Today, cooperative society is the fundamental right under Article 19. Okay, SC, STs, we have reservations. Okay, then we have welfare boards are there. In fact, National Commission for SC, ST is also there. Okay, so that is also implemented. Prohibition in some places like I think Bihar, Gujarat and all, you don't have drinks possible there. Okay, you don't have liquor and all there. Okay, so some place, but national level it is not possible. It has not been implemented. Animal husbandry, like slaughtering of cow, should be prohibited. Gandhi says that don't kill cow. Okay, prohibition or prohibit the slaughter of cow. Okay. Then comes cooperative society. This is added by new amendment. Okay, 43B. Okay, if my memory is there, 97th Amendment Act is this. Okay, 97th Amendment Act. So already I have discussed about 42nd Amendment. Okay, 44th Amendment. We discussed about 52nd Amendment. Okay, now it is 97th Amendment. You want to read all the amendment? If you ask me, no need to read all the amendment. At least that 100 to 106 amendment you can learn, the latest one. Then the landmark amendments like 42nd, 44th. Then you got the 52nd, 61st is also good. 61st, and that the age of the voters, okay, reduced from 21 to 18. those. Then 73rd, 74th Amendment. Okay, that and all you can learn. Okay, so these are the Gandhian principle. Okay, Gandhian principle, you have to put some effort. It's not easy to remember on first day itself. Village panchayat, cottage industries, SC, STs and their education promotion, intoxicant drinks you have to prohibit, animals, cow should not be killed, and the cooperative society. Cooperative society is also fundamental right under Article 19. Okay, then comes Western liberal intellectual principles, uniform civil code. What is this uniform civil code means? That means, see, for criminal cases, if somebody kills somebody, either he's a Muslim or a Hindu or Christian, the punishment is equal. Okay, but if if a person want to give a divorce to a wife or vice versa, or the father has to give the property to the son or vice not vice versa possible. Okay. So in that case, there are civil cases. These are not civil cases. In this, there's a Hindu Marriage Act is there. Okay, Hindu Property Succession Act is there, and then likewise the Islamic laws are there. So based upon your religion, that law will change. So we do not have the national level uniform civil code, but in Portuguese era, we had uniform civil code that has been taken over in the Goa. Okay, but the modern state which has implemented uniform civil code is the only one Uttarakhand has implemented. So throughout the country we do not have uniform civil code. One of the agenda of the current government, BJP government, is to implement uniform civil code. Okay, one was the Ram Mandir that they have done. Uniform civil code, we wait and see. Okay, triple talaq they have banned. Okay, so all these are related to the uniform. This is a mains material. Definitely one question comes from mains on this. Okay, scientific management of agriculture. Scientific management of agriculture is agriculture, like this high yielding varieties, green revolution, this and all, animal husbandry, Amul, all this is an example for this. Okay, so most of this welfare state we have implemented this. Okay, some of them we have not implemented. Uniform civil code. Goa, it is existing because of the Portuguese inheritance. In the Uttarakhand, it's the first state, modern state, which has implemented that also. Then separation of power, we already have this. Okay, that means judiciary should not do the executive function or vice versa. Why this has been added here? Because during the British period, district collector was very powerful. He was collecting revenue, he was giving judgment, he was going and killing the tiger if it is disturbing the village. There are examples are there. So he was everything, because that we have wanted to reduce the concentration of power in the district collector. So separation of power is also part. Here it is easy to remember. Okay, 50-50 you can remember, separation. Okay, and this article you have to remember, Article 44. You have to remember this. Okay, and then this yearly education. See, originally this was education between the age of 6 to 14. Now that has become the fundamental right under Article 21A. Now the content of this Article 45, they said that we are going to give childhood care between the age till the age of 6. Okay, until the age of 6. So that content has changed after the 86th Amendment Act. So 86th Amendment Act made changes in the Article 45, changing it to childhood care for the children below the age of 6. Okay. Then ecology, environment. So wherever you can see this A and all brought by amendment. Okay. This is by 42nd Amendment. Improve the environment, safeguard the forest and wildlife. International peace, probably the first or the only constitution in the world which has promoted international peace through constitution. Okay, so Article 51, they're asking about promoting international peace, just and relations between the nations, respect the international law. That means UN. Now we have Board of Peace, no? Board of Peace, okay, our constitution doesn't recognize international law, only we are recognizing. Okay, then we also have Article 49, promotion or protection of monuments, national historic importance, places and all we have to promote. It is not easy to remember everything. At least try to learn. By the end of this video, you should be having at least 5 principles you should be aware. Okay, so we have done amendment. Yes, we have done amendment. 42nd Amendment, which is known as mini constitution. In that, the healthy development of children has been introduced. Free legal aid has been introduced. Participation of workers in the management of the company is introduced. Protection of environment has been introduced. This one. So you have to remember this. Okay, how many are they? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 42nd Amendment introduced 4 directives in the constitution. Then 44th amendment, only one is there, minimize the inequalities in income. Okay, minimize the inequalities in income. 1978 this was introduced. Okay. Then 2002 86th amendment, already I told you the content of the article 45 is changed to childhood care. Okay. Then 97th amendment. Okay, yeah, this my memory is also good. Okay, 43B, cooperative societies. So only 4 times we have amended the directive principles of state policy. One is by 42nd, one is by 44th, one is by 86th, and one is by 97th. Okay, this is also one prelims material. Match the following question possible. So this content is a prelims content. Okay. Then the problem is when you're trying to implement the directive principles of state policy, you may violate fundamental duties, or vice versa is possible. So there has been always a debate which is more supreme. Directive principles are supreme in terms of their importance in the welfare state and all. But what is justiciable? Fundamental duties are fundamental rights are justiciable. So in that case, the fundamental rights gets a kind of a little higher place. But there's a doctrine of harmonization in which we say that don't blindly say fundamental rights are bigger or DPSP is bigger. Look at the context in which it is being used. Okay, so depending upon the situation, we can say fundamental right is good or fundamental right is more superior, or the DPSP also we can say. Okay, so what is the comparison between this is fundamental rights are little negative in character, these are little positive in character. Instruction, they are giving positive instruction. These are obligation for the state. The state has to provide fundamental rights. Okay, justiciable, enforceable by the court. It is not justiciable. Political democracy, I told you this several times. Political democracy, this is a socio-economic welfare state. Okay, community of welfare. This is a personal welfare. Okay, I am given freedom of speech, I am given the equality. Okay, so it's a personal welfare, automatically enforced. No need for separate law for fundamental rights. Okay, whereas our DPSP needs separate law. You have to implement. You have to bring 73rd amendment. You have to bring 86th amendment to implement that. Okay, courts can declare a law if it is violating the fundamental rights, but in this case that is not needed. Okay, courts cannot declare, need not declare. Okay, so these are the tug of war, you can say, between the rights and the directive. In 1951, okay, Champakkam Durairaj. Okay, in that, so fundamental rights are supreme, DPSP is not supreme. Okay, then comes the 1967 Golaknath case. Okay, fundamental rights cannot be amended even for DPSP implementation. Then comes the landmark judgment, 1973 Keshavananda Bharati case, in which the basic structure concept was introduced. Okay, this is something which has changed the. You can read the polity before 1973 and after 1973. Before 1973, everything was possible for the Parliament. Parliament could do anything, and Supreme Court they have different. Whatever they have done, ulta they have done later. That I will not comment. The Honorable Supreme Court of India. But 1973 are bringing something very crucial and very good also. That means, so if at all allow the Parliament to amend the Constitution, they keep on amending, and after 100 years you see something, original content is not there, originality is not there. Okay, so in 1973 they are bringing the concept of basic structure. Certain things are very, 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 very important, which you cannot alter, you cannot change. Okay, that is what Keshavananda Bharati case. But actually that was a case on right to property only. Right to property was weakened this. Okay, they have rejected that you have right to property as a fundamental right. They have to give the land to the common purpose. Okay. 1980 Minerva Mill case. Again, what happened? That is what the harmony. I told you, doctrine of harmonization, which is supreme, depends upon the case by case. Okay, so these cases, please remember this. Okay, Champakkam Durairaj 1971. Golaknath case is a very famous case. If you want me to do that, let me know. I'll say do that separately. Keshavananda Bharati case, a lot of complexity they will say, but only one thing you remember, that it introduced the concept of basic structure. That means republic form of government, democratic form of government. Okay, then judicial independence. All these are basic, which cannot be removed. Okay, thereby the Parliament do not have unlimited power of amending the Constitution. Okay. Now 31C as a shield. Okay, saving DPSP law from the judicial scrutiny. Okay, in the 25th Amendment Act 1971 to implement law DPSP. Okay, from being struck down. Okay, what does this means? Okay, when a law is made, okay, to implement this Article 31C, that time you can little bit violate the fundamental rights also. Okay, no law seeking the implementation of 39B, distribution of resources or the prevention of wealth, okay, shall be violating Article 4990. Okay, that means if you are doing some kind of welfare activity, it has to be given to everybody in that. If you put some criteria. Okay, so what is the current status? Okay, the Keshavananda Bharati case, okay, please write down this Article 39 B and C, supremacy over the individual right. Okay, the present condition, okay, can be violated if it is violating this one. Okay, then comes the socialist state. Okay, see, India is not a socialism, India is socialist state. Okay, so we have land reform, abolition of zamindar system, distribution of land, land ceiling was introduced. Okay, then labor protection, minimum wage, already told you, code of wages. In fact, in 2026 we have got a one labor code is there. Please read that. That can be possible question. Okay, maternity benefit government has brought in, equal remunerations act is okay. So all these are implementation of directive principles state policy. Okay, so in land reforms you can say, then you can say about minimum wages, equal pay for equal work. These things have been implemented. Okay, then Panchayat Raj has been implemented, right to education is implemented, MGNREJ has been renamed as VBG Ramji. Okay, so that has been implemented. Cottage industries we implemented this year. Then handloom in budget, they have Mahatma. I'm not going to tell you, you read that. Okay, then yeah, environmental based laws have been there. Okay, protection of archaeological survey, you have got a lot of things has been included in the UNESCO. So all these are slowly we are implementing without affecting the fundamental right or somebody else. Okay, there are certain directives which is outside that article, this one part 4 of the constitution. Okay, that comes SC/ST claims should be considered properly. Okay, then 350A says instruction should be in the mother language. Okay, and 51 says we should spread Hindi also. On one time they are saying, one plate they are saying we should promote mother tongue, another plate they are saying Hindi should be promoting. Let us see what. Okay, so other than, so there is a question that direct principles are found in the other parts of the constitution also. Then between you can say 335, then 350, 351 you can say. Okay, so there are criticism also. There's a utility also. Criticism is there's a blank check. It's a check on the bank payable only when the resource of the bank is permitted. That means we told, like Ambedkar himself has said practical constraints are then implementing. So you have a check with you, but you cannot go to the bank and get the money now, because bank will have money only then you can go. Okay, so like this some criticism is also there. Okay, but there are certain utility crucial for judicial review to implement the constitutional validity. Okay, that is also there. So directives are the lighthouse. This lighthouse are used for a preamble also. They are not destination, but they are to show the direction. Okay, so thereby direct principles are very important, but at the same time they are not justiciable. Okay, so socialist. So coming to summary, socialist, Gandhian, and liberal. Okay, which is more important? Doctrine of harmonization you have to look. So you need a separate law to implement. These are known as fundamental to the governance of the country. It is reflecting the welfare state, socio-economic welfare. Okay, and it was introduced as instrument of instructions. It is taken from Ireland. Okay, hope you enjoyed this class. See you in another class. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.